Hello everybody. This is going to be a great video for anyone looking to take Calculus BC or even Calculus AB on the AP exam this coming spring. It's excellent for students who are looking to get some last minute preparation, who are looking to prepare the next couple months and are taking the AP class, or for students who are self-studying on their own. I'm going to talk about how I have prepared. I self-studied for the AP exam, doing that for the BC exam. Now, what resources I've used on the AB exam, I got 5 and I'm expecting a similar score in May as well. So with that said, let's go and get started. So of course, if you're doing any kind of calculus level math, you need to be able to cover your basics and the content at a progressive level. It's not like a lot of the social sciences or English exams that you can skip around a little bit more in the lessons. You really need to be very progressive, learning everything like you would in a typical math class. And for that reason, I highly suggest to students, even if the AP class is not offered at your school, take an honors level class, which is one thing I'm doing. I'm a homeschool student, but I'm taking like a regular-ish honors level class as well. So this is the textbook we're using. It's also very easy, in my opinion, for students who are fairly comfortable teaching themselves reading their own textbook in order to teach themselves at home. If you don't have a class option, this is called Calculus of a Single Variable. It actually covers Calculus AB and BC material. So lessons 1 through 6.3 are AB material, and then after that it's BC material. And I am doing the BC book in about a semester. I could do the AB book if I wanted in a semester as well. I really prefer to spread it in more like 4/3 of a semester, but it's not crazy heavy. If you are learning at home, or even if you're not, you have a harder time understanding, you're not as great at self-teaching just using a textbook, Khan Academy is another great resource. They have tons of videos with example problems, videos helping to explain everything, and of course YouTube is going to have tons of videos as well. But like I said, it really would suggest that if you have any math class option, to go ahead and take that and then supplement that with your own studying to make sure that you really are prepared for the AP exam that way. I know though, for some students, especially BC Calculus is not an option in my county. There are no schools that offer Calculus BC. I have to take it through a separate outlet that literally teaches just math classes. So if you want to take the AP class instead of like a dual enrollment class, because it's going to be more likely to transfer, then you may have to self-study. Again, keep in mind that if you're trying to get more exam scores to go to good colleges and stuff, they're not going to disadvantage you for not taking a class that your school didn't even offer. If that makes sense. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to talk about some other resources aside from book and Khan Academy that I'm going to use to study. So one of the best resources are the FRQ questions from previous exams online. These questions, again, come straight off the Calculus AP exams, so they're going to be very representative of what you will see on test day. They are quite different than what you will see in a traditional textbook, which is why you will take an AP class instead of like a regular level class in order to properly prepare for the exam, or traditionally prepare at least. The class will help teach you more to the test. So it's important to learn exactly how to answer questions the way they are styled on the AP, just like it's important to learn how to answer ACT style questions or SAT style questions. So with that said, there are only 3 years of previous questions now available on College Board because they took them down this past year for the other years. However, there is a way to get around that as well. So I'm going to show you a quick trick so that you can access some of the questions from previous years. I actually called the College Board and they were helping me to figure this out. So I have my Google window open here. I'm just going to type in AP Calculus BC FRQ 2019. And you see the first link that comes up is this. But again, you cannot find this on the website anymore. However, you may notice that these questions don't have the answers in them. So if you go back to your original page, you can just ask for the answers and they'll bring them up for the same year as well. So that's a great way to be able to access additional FRQs that aren't even on the website. Last year, I generally found that it was helpful to take about 6 FRQ sets and practice those before the exam. I would suggest finishing learning all new material at least a month beforehand so you have that extra month to prepare for the test. That is, if you don't actually take a real AP class. Follow your AP schedule, of course, if that's what you're doing. But if you aren't, then go ahead and take that month off in order to be able to practice FRQ questions. You can practice one set each week, really go back whether you're taking AP class or not, and drill the FRQs that you don't get correct. You can also find some multiple choice questions from other sources like Khan Academy Online to help you practice. Generally, what I found is that it's hardest to get those FRQ questions correct, especially with the calculator. So it's important to work on familiarizing yourself with the calculator, especially for homeschool students who don't typically use a calculator super often, and just becoming really confident with that. And if you are confident with the free response questions, you're generally going to do a decent job on the multiple choice questions as well. The scoring guidelines, in my opinion, for the AP math exams are not super strict, and it's not super difficult to get a good score or a passing score for that matter. That said, there is one other suggestion that I would have to make, that is whatever curriculum you're using, whether it's the one I just showed or provided through AP, I would suggest creating a list of equations, formulas, rules, all that type of thing. If you have like the intermediate value theorem, write that down and write a definition of what it is, when you're able to use it, that type of thing, because these are questions that are going to come up over and over in the exam, and it's important that you memorize those. So even if it's creating flashcards so you can remember those formulas, if you're able to recreate some of those or just understand them well enough to be able to do that, that's great. Preferably do that, but many students might not be able to do that until taking class, for example, for a second time, or it's just a lot of material, so it's hard to remember how to recreate it all. So memorizing works best. Create a list of that yourself so that you can memorize those key pieces of information. The final resource I want to talk about is the daily videos on the AP students page. Of course, if you are an AP student, then you're going to be very familiar with this, but even if you are an exam-only student, you actually have access to these as well. So I'm going to just start off on my collegeboard.org page. I'm already logged in, and go to AP Classroom. Here, once it loads, I'll go down to the AP Calculus BC exam only setup, and I'm going to click on here, logging in, and then you can see obviously there's nothing on here because I do have it set up as an exam only, but you can still access some of the daily videos as well. Go to your course guide, and then unit 1, you can see a bunch of videos here. Sometimes you can see some student practice, such as down here, and that'll allow you to practice some questions, learn how to better answer some questions, cover some AP content on the exam as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Hopefully it helps you to prepare for the Calculus AB or BC AP exams. Again, make sure you find a textbook if you are self-studying, and really learn the content that you learn in your AP class. If you're not self-studying, take advantage of Khan Academy, no matter how you're learning the content, because it will help you to be able to understand it better, to visualize it better, and get some early practice on the multiple choice questions of the exam. Additionally, use previous FRQ questions to help maximize your score on this portion of the exam. I do not think I could have gotten a 5 without this. It definitely raised my score by at least 1 point, if not more. Take advantage of the time you have before the exam to memorize all of those pieces of information you need to know, like the formulas, because they will save your life on test day. And then, of course, take advantage of the daily videos that you have access to as an AP test taker. But with that said, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It'll help me to know what kind of content you like best. And also, please feel free to throw any suggestions for videos down in the comments below, because I do make videos to viewers' requests. As I already mentioned, have self-studied for AP exams, I've gotten 5s on those, I have a 1570 on the SAT. Love to help students prepare for exams in order to maximize their academic potential and get into the colleges of their dreams. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.